Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Cloud DevOps Era. In today's video, we are going to discuss about Ansible tool. Basically, Ansible is an open source configuration management and automation tool. It is agentless, like we don't need to install anything on the target servers. Ansible uses SSH connection to connect remote servers and executes tasks using Ansible Playbooks. Coming to the Ansible architecture, Ansible works using control node and manage nodes. In this control node, we have to install Ansible, and using this control node, we can manage the remote servers. And the communication between the control node and manage nodes will be done through SSH connection. Ansible is an automation engine. Using this Ansible tool, we can automate almost every task that is done by ops engineer. Let's take few examples over here. Using this configuration tool, we can install necessary packages that are required in n number of servers, like worker nodes. We can declare the task inside this playbook, and using this control node, we can run this playbook to install that necessary packages in this worker nodes. And we can also manage the config files, and we can set the system parameters, and we can create the users, and we can provide the permissions further. Here, if we can see here, we have inventory file going to provide the worker node server IPs in this inventory file. In this playbook file, we have to provide the task that we have to run inside the worker nodes, rather than updating on installing necessary packages one by one. Using this tool, we can automate the entire process. Finally, in short, we can say Ansible helps us to automate configuration, deployment, security, patching, and day-to-day operations that are done across multiple servers without installing agents on worker nodes. So let's switch to the AWS console and create servers over there. So here we can say I'm in my AWS account. This is my AWS console. So let's go to EC2 service. Click on launch instance. We are going to launch 3 EC2 instances. One is control node and 2 are worker nodes. So let's give number of instances as 3. Provide name of the server. Select AMI. I'm going with Ubuntu. So instance type, I'm going to keep it as t3.micro. Coming to key pair section, I have existing key pair. If you want to create, you can click on this create key pair, and you can click on create key pair. Now go to the network settings section. I have to open SSH port and HTTP port. Coming to the configuration storage part, I am leaving default settings as it is, as 8 GB of memory. Click on launch instance. Now go to instances. Now here we can see I have created 3 EC2 instances with the same name. So now let's change our EC2 instances name, one as control node and 2 as worker nodes. So now let's copy our control node public IP and connect our EC2 instances using git bash. So now let's copy this public IP of the control node and connect it to our git bash. So use this SSH command to connect EC2 instance. Now if we click on enter, now here we have to provide yes. Now here we can see we are connected to our control node. This is the private IP of the EC2 instance. It is ending with 7-46. Here we can see it is 7.46. And these are the additional details of the EC2 instance: private IP and machine ID, boot ID, operating system, instance type as t3.micro. So now let's clear the screen. Now let's change our EC2 instance name as control node. So now let's exit from this EC2 instance and reconnect again. So if we can see here, we have got this control node name. So before we are going to install Ansible in our control node, let's update our existing packages inside this EC2 instance. This will update all the existing packages inside our EC2 instance. Here we can see it is preparing and unpacking the packages. And it is installing the new version of the packages. And finally it is going to set up the packages. So now let's clear the screen. Let's install Ansible in our machine. You can see here currently we don't have any Ansible installed in our EC2 instance. So now let's install Ansible in our control node. Click on enter. We have completed with installing Ansible. Now let's check the version again. We can see here we have got the Ansible core version as 2.16.3, and this is the Python version. Basically Ansible is developed through Python. Need Python to be installed while we are dealing with Ansible. Let's clear the screen. So coming to this flow diagram, we have created 3 EC2 instances, one as control node and 2 as worker node instances. And we have changed our control node name. And we have updated the existing packages and installed Ansible inside the control node. And now we have to create an inventory file to provide that server IPs inside this inventory file. So now let's switch to the git bash and create inventory file over there. Before creating inventory file, let's create a directory. Let's create inventory file. Click on I to insert. And here we have to provide the private IPs of the worker nodes. Now copy this worker node 1 private IP. Copy this worker node 2 private IP. So click on escape colon WQ. You can check this content by using this command. So to connect worker nodes from the control node, we have to provide SSH connection. To provide SSH connection, we have to generate some SSH keys. So use this command like click on enter and enter and enter again. And let's switch to the .ssh folder. So now let's connect our worker node 1. So now we have logged into worker node 1 EC2 instance. This is the private IP of the worker node 1 in 7-129. Now let's connect to worker node 2. So now we have connected to worker node 2 instance. So now let's rename the worker nodes. So I have renamed as worker node 1 and worker node 2. Let's exit and reconnect to these EC2 instances. See here, this is control node and this is worker node 1 and this is worker node 2. Let's copy this. Now go to .ssh folder. Click on I. Make sure you are not missing any of the letter while copying and pasting. So click on escape colon WQ. Now go to worker node 1 and do the same. Sudo vim authorized keys. Click on I to insert. paste it over here. Click on escape colon WQ. I have pasted the public key in my worker node 1, not yet pasted it in worker node 2. So now let's test once whether we are able to connect our worker nodes or not from the control node. I have copied the public IP of worker node 1. Let's test we are able to connect worker node 1 from our control node. So now here we can see we have login to worker node 1 from our control node. So if you can see, so now I have exit from the worker node 1 and I am currently on control node. So let's check whether we are able to connect to our worker node 2. Provide public IP of the worker node 2. Click on enter. Provide yes. Here we can see permission denied. We have got this response because we did not save our public key yet. So if we click on enter, so now we have saved our public key. So now let's retry again. Here we can see we have logged into worker node 2 as well. Let's exit from the worker node 2. And currently I'm in control node. Let's clear the screen. So till now we have created SSH keys and we have copied SSH public key into the worker nodes, and we have tested the connection between the control node and worker nodes as well. We have to create one more file called Ansible config file. We need Ansible configuration file that tells where our inventory file is located. So let's create Ansible configuration file. Click on I to switch to insert mode. So now I'll explain what is this content about. We can provide this content through the command line as well. Why we are using this configuration file? Because we need to provide again and again if we used by command line. Instead of that repetitive process, we can define this default arguments inside this configuration file. Basically, it is telling that inventory file is present in this current location with this name, remote user as Ubuntu. So we can provide these arguments by the command line as well. We need to provide these arguments again and again while we are running the Ansible commands. So rather than giving these arguments again and again using command line, we are providing this information in the Ansible configuration file. Inventory file is present in this current location with this name inventory, and we are using remote user as Ubuntu, and we are telling host key checking as false. So Ansible is going to check this Ansible configuration file, and this is the information that it is going to check while running Ansible commands and playbooks. So this is about Ansible configuration file. Let's save and exit. Now let's test whether we are able to connect worker nodes through our control node using Ansible ping command. Here Ansible all means it is going to ping all the servers that is present in the server list, and it is using ping module. Now if we click on enter, we can see here we have got the success message with the response as pong from the both of the servers. So if we check here if config, we get the IP address of the server. It is 172.31.7.129, and this is the private IP we have connected. We got from worker node 1, and this is worker node 2. We can use few more Ansible commands like uptime of the worker nodes, Ansible, and we have two server IPs under this servers group. So here we have to provide that group name. We are going to check the uptime of the worker nodes. So now if we see here, this is the information. This is the information about worker nodes, how long they are up and running. So now let's clear the screen. And you can also check the disk usage of the worker nodes. Here using this command we can check the disk usage of the worker nodes. Here we can see total size is 6.8 GB and we have used 2.1, and available storage which is 4.7, and this is another server's information. So if we want to check the OS details of the worker nodes, we can use this command ansible servers -a. So here we can see this is the command that is used to check the OS details of the worker nodes, and we can also check the kernel version. So these are some of the arguments that we can use through ad-hoc commands. So this is the kernel version of the worker nodes. So to check the memory usage, we can use this command like ansible all -a free -h. Here why we provided all means we can till now we have used a specific group name, and using this all we want to check all the server information which are there in another groups as well. So if we change the inventory file once, here we have two servers. Let's divide these servers. So I am keeping this server IP inside another group. We have divided this IPs with a group name. So we have two groups as of now in the inventory file. One is DevOps and one is developer. So we can perform particular actions related to particular group only. So now to create a file we have to use this command, and here I have provided a DevOps group and with the module file, and we have provided the path name. Inside this demo directory we are going to create test.txt file. We have provided the state information as touch, and we have provided the user access, and at last provided the sudo access as well. Click on enter. Now here we can see it is changed and we have created a text file. If we see here, you got the text file with the access information as well. We have only provided the 700 owner access. So this is how we can target particular servers which are there in particular groups. Let's go back. Let's check Nginx version. We don't have Nginx installed in our worker nodes. Here we can see unit nginx.service could not be found. So here we can create a playbook in our control node, and using that playbook we can install Nginx in our worker nodes. So go to insert mode. So here I have provided the name as install Nginx on remote servers. Click on enter and provide hosts as currently I'm going to install on worker node 1 only. So I have provided DevOps as my target host name. Click on enter. Make sure you are following correct indentation. And I have given the sudo access to install Nginx package. Here we have provided the name as install Nginx and we have provided the package installer as apt for Ubuntu. And we are going to get the Nginx and it should be present. So this is how a simple playbook looks like. To run this Ansible playbook, we are going to use this command like now click on enter. Here we can see it is started the Nginx playbook. It is gathering the information and here we can see it is showing status as changed, so that we can confirm that I have completed the installation part of Nginx. Now if we can see here, using this command sudo systemctl status Nginx, we got the information as active and running. You can also use some ad-hoc commands to stop the service and start the service, like Ansible DevOps -m apt -a name is equal to service name, state is equal to accent. Here we can provide the sudo access. So now if we can see here, it is inactive and dead state. So using this command also we can start or stop our Nginx service or any other service as well. So now let's change our inventory file and do some modification. Let's clear the screen. You can see we have two groups, DevOps and developer. Now we can also group these different groups into one, like Here we are providing this group name as servers, and we are using the children as DevOps and developer together. So we have to provide this group's name here. So why we are grouping these two groups into one? Because so if we want to perform similar tasks in these both groups, we can use server's name, and if you want to deal with any particular server inside the different groups, we can only focus on the particular groups. So click on escape :wq cat inventory file. So let's use this command to install Nginx, and it should be present, and we have provided this sudo access. So click on enter. Here we can see it is changed. If we check here Nginx status, it is active and running again. And let's switch to the worker node and check the status of Nginx. Now here we can see it is also active and running. You can also do this through the Ansible Playbook. Let's keep this as absent again. Here we can see it is completed the process. It is now inactive and dead. It is also inactive and dead. Now go to Playbook. Now here we can provide the servers group. So it is going to do the operation on both the servers through the playbook. Earlier we have seen this through command line. Escape :wq. Now Ansible Playbook playbook name. Here we can see it is gathering facts from both the servers. It is changed. Now we can see the status again. It is up and running. Now let's switch to the browser and check the Nginx page over there. Paste it over, click on enter. We got the Nginx default page. Now copy this worker node 1 public IP as well. Open new tab. You can see both the servers got Nginx default page. So this is how we can update the packages and install the dependencies and install the services that are required to deal with in remote servers through the ad-hoc commands as well as through the Ansible playbooks. So let's use this command to install multiple packages. So you can see here we have installed git curl wget packages that are installed in this targeted servers. So till now we have checked the how to use the ad-hoc commands, how to update the packages, and how to install multiple packages to deal with installing services and updating service and managing services. And we have also seen the file management where we can create files on the remote servers, and we have provided the user access of that file. So in my next video I'm going to deploy a React application using this Ansible. So stay tuned and thanks for watching.